Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Ashlyn Falls, and I am the director of Sanilac Great Start Collaborative, and I will be your host as we navigate through our presentation today. Before we start, I would like to thank you all for attending our Healthy Living Together webinar today on digital safety, what parents need to know. Today's presentation will be facilitated by Officer Matthew Gezequel. Healthy Living Together is a project that was developed by McKenzie Health System in collaboration with the Sanilac County Health Department, MSU Extension, Sanilac Great Start Collaborative, and Sanilac County Community Mental Health to help you on your path to a healthier life. Originally named Healthier Lifestyles, this program has evolved as we continue to provide valuable, healthy living information to the community. Before we begin, I'd like to cover some of the housekeeping items. Throughout the course of the presentation, everyone other than the speakers will be automatically muted. We will have the Q&A function open for all of the questions and comments that you may have. We will address these questions at the end of the presentation. You can find the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. This event will be recorded, and a link of the recording will be sent in a follow-up email. Thank you, and once again with that, I will turn it over to Officer Gezequel to start off our presentation.
All right. Again, I'm Officer Matt Gezequel. I'm with the Sanilac County Sheriff's Department and also Sandusky Police Department. But as you can see, I'm wearing my Sheriff's Department uniform today. I've been an officer for 25 years, and one of the things I get to do is teach internet safety and safety to children in the schools. And today we're going to talk about some of the things that we use and I use when I'm teaching this program, and things that you can do as parents and guardians that can help your child and also educate yourself on what your kids are doing online and how to protect them and how to make yourself a little better off with this. Part of the program that we use, I use a program called NetSmarts. NetSmarts is designed by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They have programs from K to 12. I love every one of their programs. They do great work, and it's updated pretty much quarterly, if not, it's yearly, but at least in most cases quarterly, they have changes to their programming. And again, a lot of it is put into language that the kids would understand and also really helpful. Oh boy, hold on one second. I apologize. I apologize. Noon whistle where I live, and unfortunately my dogs heard it. So let's continue. What do you need to know about for your children? What do your kids do online? And the biggest thing is, the kids are doing their homework online. They are doing gaming. They are communicating. Some of them are creating their own social media. Some of them create all types of media, listening to music. All of these things now can be done online and are done, on average, they'll tell you, I had a laugh. I asked a group of seventh graders last week, I said, how much time do you guys spend online? And according to a research study, they said most 13-year-old boys spend about 8 to 10 hours online in a week. And the kids all laughed. And there was kids like, well, we do that at school every day. Because, again, half their books in certain situations are online. And so, the one looked at me and goes, I do that in a day just in school. So understanding that is a huge thing. And technology can't catch everything. You have to be able to communicate with your kids and understanding what they're doing. And sometimes that might just sit down and, if they're playing a video game, even if you don't like the video game, sometimes it's fun just to sit down, play it. It might not be that fun, but at the same point in time, you're seeing what they're seeing online and you understand it better. And you can also see if there's other forms of technology being used, such as in-game chats where kids can be talked to by anybody. Can you control that? Can you control who can contact your child? Those are things that you want to be able to look at, and those are things that you need to make sure you understand, as well as the child understand what they can do. A lot of these things, unfortunately, we get into a situation where children are allowed to do certain things, and then later on, we find out, oh, that probably shouldn't have been done. This way, if you're ahead of the game, you're talking with them, participating with them, you can learn more in what they're doing and how they're doing it. This video here I'm going to play is incredible. I love how this kid puts it.
From a child's perspective, growing up with somebody like yourself, for parents, it's a huge thing to have the ability to just listen and have an open dialogue, because at the end of the day, children don't have anybody to ask about how life works. They're just thrown into this crazy world and they have no idea how to interact with it and interpret it. And they need somebody like a parent, whether it's their parent or somebody else's, to help them learn that and understand that. And if you're not providing that to your kid, they're gonna have some problems online, right? It's just the name of the game.
And like I said, I think that is very poignant. The more we understand what the kids are doing, the better off we can be. Because unfortunately, there's inappropriate contact, online privacy settings. Some of these things are set up, and some of them are so hard to set up, most people don't use them. Online enticement. This is something we'll talk about. We're going to talk about a little bit about sexting. We're going to talk about sextortion, cyberbullying. And sextortion is one of those things that people don't know about, but I want to make sure you guys do by the end of what we're talking about today. With younger kids, we talk about netiquette. It's truly just their etiquette, how they talk. Understanding that if you type in all capital letters, it looks like you're screaming at somebody. Where, and what words to use. Talk with them. Because unfortunately, this doesn't happen. This doesn't happen very often. Then we're going to talk about with younger kids, inappropriate contact, things that may show up on their screen, which they didn't intend. If they can talk to you and say, hey, I was typing in this website and this popped up, one, you can then go ahead, block that website. And two, if you're having that type of open conversation with the children, it's easier for them to come to you if something else happens. As your pop-up blocker on, in certain situations, the pop-up blocker is disabled. So things pop up, and if the kids click on it, it could give that pop-up access to some of their information. So again, you've got to make sure what's on, what's not, how to ensure that. Again, talk to them about their passwords. Make sure they're using a different password. Also, make sure that you have those passwords. And, I tell people, some of you are going to get mad at me, but, don't make a note list on your phone with all your passwords. Put it on a piece of paper. Yeah, you got to worry about losing the piece of paper, but at the same point in time, it's pretty easy for people to get into your phones these days. So watch what you're doing and talk to the kids about the same thing. And remind them that they can't trust everyone online, just like they can't trust everyone they meet on the street. We talk to them about, I laugh at this, but I talk with the kids and they'll tell me, "Oh, well, I know this guy from online and we're friends." And I said, "Han, how well do you know him?" Well, we talk online. And I looked at him, I said, "But have you ever met him face to face?" "Well, no." I said, "So then he's a stranger." And I said, "And you're not supposed to talk to strangers, right?" And the kids just look at you, and it took them a little bit to kind of catch on. But these are things that we need to make sure that they understand. With tweens and teens, we talk about cyberbullying a lot more. I do a huge presentation on sexting. Unfortunately, these kids have been, in many cases, some of them have been sexualized more than they should have, and they see some things that they shouldn't see just on everyday TV. And there's things that you just look and go, "Oh, why is that on in the middle of the day? And why is this popping up?" And again, it's not always there. Social media, you'll see things that you didn't think should have been seen. Again, talking about posting personal information, inappropriate content, meeting offline. That's huge. If somebody's trying to talk to your child about meeting offline, that's a giant red flag. And we want to make sure that you've got that communication going with your kids prior to this, so they're willing to tell you before something like that happens. This is NetSmart into the cloud. This is an awesome little series for kids. We're going to show a little snippet of the video.
Zion, what are you doing here?
Oh, hi, Webster.
Hey, what's wrong?
Go ahead, Zion. You can tell them. They're NetSmart's kids. They might know a way to help.
Okay, so remember how I showed you some of my pins? Well, like I said, that was only some of them. I've got tons. I have a whole video channel dedicated to them. I do unboxings, ratings, cleanings, stuff like that. But I also stream myself playing video games. I've got a good number of followers, and sometimes they're playing the same game as me, and we work together on a level. Or I do a live stream and people message to ask for tips or tricks. Just normal stuff like that. But then, the other day, I got this direct message from someone in the game chat. I didn't recognize the username, but they said they had a picture of me. A really embarrassing picture of me doing something I probably shouldn't have done on live stream. But I was just goofing off. I only mooned the camera because my followers dared me to. They said it'd be funny, so I did it. And this person had a screenshot picture of it. They said they'd send it to all of my followers if I didn't send him 10,000 goldies. You've got to be really good to get goldies, so sometimes people buy them or sell them. But that amount is impossible. It took me a year just to get the 600 I have now.
Wow, I'm really sorry that happened to you. Did you report them?
No, I couldn't. See, when I messaged back and asked them to delete the picture, they said no. Not until I paid the goldies. Then, when I said I'd report them, they said that I'd be the one in trouble, and that they'd send the picture anyway.
Have you told anyone else about this?
Well, now I've told you, plus Harold. I can't tell my dad. He'll get mad at me. So when I needed a trusted adult, I thought of Harold. He's our neighbor, and he's always been really nice to me. I just want to get that picture down and go back to normal.
I bet. But once something's online, it's hard to control where it goes.
That's why I'm so stressed out. What am I gonna do?
Well, you've taken the first step by asking for help. I still think you should report this person. The way they threaten you is not okay.
He's right. You can report what happened directly to the site's safety team. Almost all sites have them. They may have a way to get the picture off their server.
I looked into that. The safety team and server for my channel is all the way out on Ledis, which is, also part of why I came to you, Harold. Would you take me to Ledis to help me get the picture down?
help you, but you have to tell your dad first. I know it will be hard, but I'll come with you.
All right, I guess. But this is not gonna be fun.
Hey, we'll tag along too. We've got your back.
With that video, this is Into the Cloud. It's part of the NetSmart program. This is actually, there's each video is about between 4 and 5 minutes. And each one has its own little category of things to talk about with kids. There's 2 different seasons. This is actually from season 2. And it really is something that parents can do. I actually have sat down and done this in with the 4th graders at Croswell. We did the first grouping of this, and we did it. It was took me about an hour to do the whole show, the whole first season, and wasn't sure how it went. And seemed like the kids were catching things, and they were asking good questions. And then afterwards, about 2 weeks goes by, and I'm back in the school, and I had about 15 kids turn and go, so are you going to come back and we're going to do the second season of this? Because we really wanted to learn more of what went on and how this, how we can protect ourselves online. I love that portion of it. I've done the same thing in Carsonville. I think this is something that, again, as parents, you can go onto the program. You can get onto the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and look this stuff up. And this program is very easy. It has talking points for parents, has talking points so you can communicate more with your children. And again, especially for littles, this is a great little video presentation group. Again, starting that conversation, that's the biggest thing. Have that foundation. Build your trust with your child. The more comfortable you are talking about even uncomfortable topics, the more comfortable they'll be to talk to you about something uncomfortable in the future. Again, support them. Give them, I know that's hard to say, and I can tell you I have, with my children, when we went through this, with them growing up, we did a lot of this stuff, and a lot of it is hard, but at the same point in time, I'd rather me have that conversation with them or you have that conversation with them than somebody else have to have a conversation with them about something inappropriate or something like that. The more you can get to communicate and talk with them, the better you're going to be and the better they're going to be. Inappropriate content, again, that could a pornographic website pop up? Yes. Excessive violence? Yes. Hate speech, risky illegal behavior. I'm telling you, I talk to junior high kids about making sure and talking about content and things they're putting out online, because there are colleges, there are businesses that are now looking at what you've put out on your social media. And if there's something out there in your past, it can be held against you, whether you thought it was a joke or not. So, we talk about this and we talk about things with the kids. I want you guys to be able to do the same thing. And when this is going to sound bad, but I'm going to talk about when I'm going to throw out pornography here, because I was actually teaching a class. This was a year ago, or actually 2 years ago, up in Huron County. I did a class for the ISD up there, and we were doing a class and we were talking about adult content. And there was a girl in the room, and she turned and she goes, "Oh, are you talking about porn?" And I'm like, "Yeah." "You mean we're not supposed to be seeing that?" And at which point the teacher turned and looks at me and goes, "Oh my God." And I said, no, you shouldn't be really looking at that. And then we ended up having to call and talk to the school and talk to a few other people, because she was 13 years old. So understand, they're getting access to certain things that we don't want them to, but it's out there. So we need to make sure we talk about it and have that uncomfortable conversation with them before somebody else does. Be your trusted adult. This is the biggest thing. Listen. Don't give them judgment. Don't shame. just tell them you're going to help them. Try and remain calm. I can tell you that is the hardest thing to do. When you have a child reporting something to you, and I've handled so many of those cases, it can be extremely upsetting. But if you're upset, they stop. They realize they can feel how you feel. Don't judge them. Just tell them, I'm here. Tell me what's going on. Respect their boundaries. If they don't want to talk about everything, that's fine. If they want to tell you a little bit here and then say, can we talk about this more later? Give them that break. Because again, you don't know how they're going to feel. Tell them you're going to help them. That's the biggest thing. I mean, I know it says be kind, have strong emotions, but I'm going to tell you the biggest thing you can tell somebody is, I believe you, and I'm going to try and help you. And if you can do those things to your child, so much more can be done, and so much that you can do that no one else can do. Try not to frighten them. Listen. Again, stay calm. It's not their fault. 90% of the things that happen to a child online, there's an adult on the other end that's asking them to do something or challenging or trying to get them to do something. You don't blame the child because of what an adult tricked them. So remember, it's not their fault. Tell them that. Answer questions. Help them report it. And we're going to talk about how to do that here in a minute. Tell them, show them, hey, if something pops up, you can turn off the screen. Show them how to use the back button. Show them how to report a website or contact an app to file a complaint. This cybertipline.org, this is the hugest thing I can tell you. This cybertipline.org can be used by anybody. There's actually a case that I show to the kids where it's a guy contacted a kid during a video game. The kid took a screenshot of the video during the video game on his computer, hit a screenshot, took it, did print screen, did this a couple times. He's got the chat communication with the guy. He turned it in. He's 8. An 8-year-old got a 35-year-old pervert off the streets. He had been trying to accost hundreds of children online through this same video game, which was designed for kids, that are supposed to be under 12 and supposed to have all these little security features. Well, can it be broke? Yes. So if something like that comes up, the cybertipline.org, when you file a complaint there, one, that goes to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So it gets you access to their people that can try and help you find counseling. That gets you access to, it immediately is also reported to the Federal Bureau of Investigations. And at that point in time, they may contact the local entity, local police department as well. The other thing I would suggest is contact your local police. Talk with them. Tell them what's going on. Even if you've done the cybertipline.org, again, let them know. Because again, we don't know what exactly that person had planned. Okay. Again, talk to them about privacy settings. Talk to them about blocking. Talk to them about reporting. Do it together. Okay. Set these things. The more you can do together, the more that child is going to have and understand that you're there and you truly are looking out for their well-being. Inappropriate content. Okay. Illegal behavior, offensive language, threats and violence, underage drinking and drug use, hate speech. All of these things can be used against a child in the future. And again, these are things that we need to talk to them about of, hey, you need to think about these things because, can somebody from a university or, a job look at some of this stuff and go, no, we don't want you. If you've been doing stuff like this, apparently we have a problem with how you choose your decision-making process. So they can use that and say no to hiring somebody. Understand and talk to them about this. I do. I make sure I talk to them about it. Online privacy settings, pictures of families and friends. You know, we tell kids, oh, well, block and tell them not where you're at. Well, if you're wearing a shirt that has your school's name right on it, you've told them where you go to school. Or if somebody behind you has on the school shirt, it's pretty easy to research and go, oh, okay, well, Eagles, maroon and gold. Oh, hey, that could be this school, or well, hold on, I know they're from this area of Michigan. Okay, that could be Deckerville, Michigan. Those are things that we need to make sure we talk to them about, understanding what they're putting out there, understanding metadata in pictures, what is available through certain apps. Can people find out the actual GPS coordinates of where you took the picture? Those are things that are available in the metadata. So make sure those things are blocked. Again, talk to them about not talking to people online who they don't know. If they're going to create videos, help them. Work with them. Talk about, if they've got Snapchat and it's got the snap locator. Hey, you can set privacy settings in Snapchat so only certain people know where you're at, like mom, dad, and maybe a couple friends. But you don't have to give it to everybody. But if you don't have the privacy settings right, under Snapchat, if you've got the map on, every time you post something, everybody knows right where you're standing. So understand those things. Talk about the sexting, sending, viewing, and sharing explicit pictures. Okay. Understand this can get them in trouble. Understand and talk to them about it. One of the things that I talk to them about with that, let me go back to this, is talking and understanding that if you're under the age of 18 and you take a sex shot, partially nude picture, you've committed a 20-year felony by creating child pornography. If you send it, it's a 7-year felony for distribution. Just having it on your phone is a 4-year felony for possession, even if it's of you. So we need to make sure we talk to them about those things and understand that if somebody's asking you and they know you're underage, they've just committed a 7-year felony just by asking you for that picture. So understand the consequences. I can tell you, I talk with the kids when I do these presentations, I talk with them and I explain those to them. I want you to understand them as well. The personal information. We talk about, well, you don't give your passwords out. Well, no. Do you tell them your home address? Well, no. Do you give them your cell phone number? No. But then we talk about, well, are your settings? Where are your settings? Can they get these things? You don't give out your email address. Well, no. Okay. Well, then these are things that you can do to keep yourself safe. So let's make sure we're doing that and talk to them about it. Again, the more they hear this, the better off they're going to be, the better off we're going to be. Risk of sharing information, online enticement, cyberbullying, online scams, identity theft, stalking, hacking, sextortion. And, I'm going to tell you, identity theft. My niece she's 25 years old, and she has had to deal with certain situations where, because somebody posted something with her full name and her date of birth right out there and gave a bunch of information about her and talking. And there was a guy who started doing some research, and now she's had 3 credit cards pulled out of her name out of California, and she's never lived in California. She's had to fight these things because of something she didn't do. It was something that somebody else did. So make sure what you're putting out and make sure who you're giving your information to. Those are things that can really come back and bite you. What you can do, establish rules, okay? Learn about how to reporting options work for different websites. Snapchat gets a bad rap right now, but I'm going to tell you, there's actually a parents program for Snapchat right now. It's not the easiest, but I can tell that there's a family Snapchat. You can actually, mom, dad, child, all join at the same time, and only certain people, mom knows everybody that the child's friends with. I think it's an awesome plan. But again, not everybody knows about it. So before you start saying no, 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 check into options. See if there's something else out there. Check the privacy settings. Create strong passwords. Talk about who's on their friends list and who should be or who shouldn't be. Talk to them about creating a safety plan of what, if this happens, what can you do? Have a plan. Online enticement, this is where an individual tries to communicate with the child. Quite often, this can be used for either a sexual offense in the future, abduction, or sextortion. Sextortion is one of those things that I'm going to tell you we don't hear enough about, but there have been so many cases of sextortion where children are asked for a picture, and it sometimes is not children, but normally it's a younger individual who is asked for a picture, and then they're asked for money or just anything else, exactly like what we just seen in that cartoon. The boy was told, oh, you should moon the camera. Pretty sure the guy who took the picture and took the screenshot was the one who probably was one of the ones trying to talk him into doing this. So understand those things. Talk to them about it. Talk about solicitation. Okay. Does it occur on social media? Absolutely. Mostly older teens. Most teens are solicited by their peers. But again, do they know who this person truly is? Handled several investigations. One, I've worked probably 8 or 10 now with the FBI that are now being linked to different places, different states, some of them out of our country, where people were contacted and they're like, oh, well, this is a 15-year-old boy. He's friends with this person and this person, and this person. Okay, well, how do they know him? I don't know. So how do you know him? Well, just from talking with them, and they're pretty sure. I handled one of those where it was a 15-year-old boy. The only people living in the house is a 35 and a 65-year-old guy out in Maine. Not really a good, they'd taken a picture of the kid who lived down the street and they were using his picture. So can it happen? Yes. The offenders try and groom the children. They will exploit their natural curiosity. They may try and entice them. They may try and pay them. They might send them gifts. Again, try and talk the child into, oh, you're big enough, you can make your own choices, and try and literally circumvent mom and dad. So look for things. If all of a sudden your child shows up and he's got extra money, there should be questions. If they've got gift cards, they've got an extra cell phone, they've got other things, there should be some questions really being asked very fast. And it happens around here. I want you to understand it does happen around here. Grooming, they will talk, they will flatter. It is just like some guy trying to ask somebody out for a date, or somebody else. They'll talk. They'll seem as sweet as pie. They will be the nicest people, and they will maybe slowly talk about something inappropriate just to see what happens. And then if they don't get a response, they might stop. Then the next time they might ask something a little more risque and see what responses they get. Because all they're trying to do is break that chink in the armor and then exploit it. Okay? And the more you've talked to your kids, the more you sit down. And these are all things that may happen. They could get blackmailed. They could get made to feel guilty or ashamed of what they've done. They could get asked to meet face to face. Now, these things, like I said, these things happen, and they happen quite often. So we want to make sure you are aware of it. Again, calling unknown numbers. If you walk into the room and all of a sudden your kid minimizes the screen, there's an issue. because there should be no reason for them to minimize the screen if they're doing homework. Receiving gifts. If all of a sudden they are rejecting or not spending time with family and friends the way they normally do, they get upset when they're not online. These are signs that there's a problem. Talk and go in and have that conversation. Go over and open every screen they've got, okay? Talk to them about it first, but try and figure out what's going on. If again, these are things that they do, you really need to be paying attention to what you're seeing. Talk about relationships. Again, talk to them. Hey, if somebody says they want to meet you, the answer is no. Okay? And how to talk with people. Try and know who their friends are online. Talk to them. Again, certain apps, guess what? There's parental controls. Talk with them. See if they have that. See if you can work together. Call the police. Again, cybertipline.org. It's very easy to do. Kids are capable. This is one of those things. This guy says, want to trade. Trade what? Like nudes? No. Guy sends the photo. Kid says you're gross and says, keep your clothes on. That was the 8-year-old we talked about earlier. That was an 8-year-old playing a video game. It was on a tablet, not on a cell phone like pictured, but it was a tablet. Can it be done? Absolutely. Okay. Again, cybertipline.org. If somebody has sent photos to the child or is asking for them, report it. Again, this is the way we get our children safe. Since the early 2000s, the exploitation of children has jumped by 400%. The way we stop it is by being involved, by talking with them, making sure you understand how to help them and how to break this habit. Sexting, 19.3% of teenagers have sent a sext. 34.8% say they've received them. Now, those numbers are low. Those are the ones that admit to it. There are others that don't. So again, the only way we have this conversation is to actually have that conversation with your children. And it starts when they're little and work your way up and continue to talk about it. Talk to them about, if is somebody trying to be funny? Are they trying to impress somebody they've got a crush on or that likes them? Or is it peer pressure? Are there threats? Understand, again, this is a way of pushing the boundaries to see what somebody can get away with. And it goes both ways. Boys and girls can both be pressured into this. This video, I'm actually not going to show this, but I would strongly suggest if you have a teenager, sit down and show them this video. Your photo, your fate. Literally, it is an awesome video. Just because I don't want to run over, I'm not going to show it at this point. If we get to the end and there's still a few minutes, maybe I'll come back to it. Consequences, humiliation, bullying, blackmail, school discipline, police involvement. The other things that I really want to make sure that you understand and they understand is once it's out there, it never comes back. The minute you send it, you've lost control. You have no say where it goes anymore. That video prior that I just talked about, that, your photo, your image, that right there says it to a T, okay? Get your chance. Like I said, if I get a chance here, I will show it, I promise. Address it. Start the conversation early. I had some parents turn to me and go, well, how early? How early? You know what? 12, 13, 10, 12. They're already going into, many of these children are starting their jump into pubescence and puberty. Talk to them at that point. truly talk to them. Understand how this can affect them. Understand how this can help them, how it can hurt them as well. Okay. Talk about resharing. Again, cybertipline.org. The minute somebody asks your child for one of these photos, they've committed a 7-year felony. Report them. Even if you don't know their full name, if you've just got a screenshot from a video game, but it's got their gamer name, if you report it, the FBI group can work on it and they can try and find out who this person is. Those are things that we need to make sure we're doing. Again, sextortion. This is a form of where somebody sends the sext to somebody. The person on the other end is not normally who they claim they are. And now they're asking for money. They could ask for sexual activity. They could ask for more pictures. And understand, unfortunately, this has got to a point where we've had several cases of children who couldn't figure a way out. And they took a way out that they're no longer with us. And we want to make sure that that doesn't happen to anybody else. And for those of you who think, well, it could never happen here, it happened in Marquette to a 17-year-old boy. It's happened more times than they want to admit. I want you to know the truth, and I want you to make sure you talk to your kids so it doesn't happen to any of them. Okay? I can tell you, the last thing you want to do is miss a child. I know from personal experience. I don't want to ever see it caused from this when we can talk to them and get it to be a situation where it doesn't end that way. And that's how it goes. And it can happen just that fast. Thing is, do not comply. Report it immediately in the app. Don't delete the account. Okay? This Get Help Now, they will help you try and make sure that if there are photos, that it doesn't get leaked and that it doesn't spread. They will try and stop it. And again, they will try and help you find counseling or anything to help you and your child. Okay? Again, cybertipline.org. Bullying and technology, cyberbullying. We all know, and I talk about this in every school I've ever been, and the minute I bring up bullying, and I turn and I'll ask, how many people in this room have seen somebody be bullied? And every hand goes up. Every hand. And when we talk about it, I show pictures, and I've got kindergartners that will tell me stories about what they're seeing, where they show two kids standing over top of another kid on a school bus. And they're telling me a story of what's going on. At which point I realize they've seen it. They're kindergartners. So we need to make sure we talk about it. And when it gets technology involved, there's no escape. Okay? Talk about, can people Photoshop things? Absolutely. Can they use AI things to do this? Yes. Can they create fake profiles? Yes. Posting fight videos happens every year, every school. Again, gossip and rumors. It's not even the truth, but guess what? The minute it's out there, can it get worse? Absolutely. Now, if you put in that there's an inappropriate picture or something else in there, can it be 10 times worse? Yes. Threatening, harassing comments? Yes. Harassing or stalking online? Yes. Again, the difference is it follows the child everywhere. It spreads faster, and there's a wider audience. You guys have all played, and I'll talk about and I do this with the kids. If we were to start not tell somebody, if you turn to somebody and say, hey, this is a secret between me and you you ask the kids, well, who knows it by the end of the day? And they're like, everybody in the room. And I looked at them, I said, now, if you did it online and you said, hey, this is just a secret between me and you, who knows it by the end of the day? They're like, the whole school district. I'm like, right. I said, might be the entire county. Understand how far and how fast this spreads. And again, it's a wider audience. And it follows. Because if you've got a cell phone or the child has a cell phone, it follows them. They come home to do their homework, it follows them. Those things, they're playing the games, it follows them. Understand, we need to make sure we talk to them about how to stop it and how to report it. Causes depression, inability to think clearly, anxiety, low self-esteem, social isolation, loneliness, running away, substance abuse. All of these things can be caused from regular bullying and cyberbullying. Unfortunately, with cyberbullying, all of these are enhanced. Extremely enhanced. And it happens every day. The victim might stop using their computer or cell phone. They may act or seem nervous when they get an instant message or get an email or a text. Normally, I know when my daughter was here, the minute she got a text message, boom, that phone was there. Now, if she got a message or a text and she didn't answer it, I got concerned because I thought something was wrong. Why? Because that's just not how she was. They may seem uneasy, or they may all of a sudden have mysterious illnesses the minute it's time to go to school. They may withdraw from family and friends. These are all signs that they're being victimized. I'm going to show this video because it truly is.
Hi guys, welcome back to my blog. Today, we're going to ask ourselves the most ancient question of them all: dots or stripes? So, okay, on one hand, stripes are... So, as I was saying... Stop it! For 2 days, you've been flying around here and picking on me. You're driving me crazy. Stop it! Bullying is a behavior that hurts, harms, or humiliates a person. There are different types of bullying. Active bullying, which includes physical bullying, and verbal bullying, such as name-calling. Passive bullying, when a person makes the other feel invisible by ignoring them or not inviting them to join in a game or party. And cyberbullying, such as sending mean messages by text, email, or on social media. A bully looks for ways to get power and control over another person to make that person feel bad and to make themselves look more powerful. If somebody bullies you, look at them and tell them to stop in a calm, clear voice. If speaking up seems too hard or not safe, walk away and tell a friend or talk to a parent, teacher, counselor, or any other trusted adult. If you're being cyberbullied, don't respond or forward the messages. Block the number on your cell phone or unfriend the person on social media. Keep evidence of the cyberbullying by saving the text, tweet, or picture and report it to an adult. If you witness bullying, speak up and let the bully know what they're doing is not okay. If the bullying continues, walk away and get help. Keep asking for help until someone listens or the situation changes. If you know someone who's been bullied, be kind to them so they'll know that they're not alone. Anyone can be the victim of bullying. People bully other people for all kinds of reasons. Bullying can hurt, both physically and emotionally, but don't blame yourself. Remember, it's not your fault. You are awesome.
Oh, you poor thing. You were just lonely and needed some attention. Here, have a cookie. Okay, guys, till next time. And don't forget to come and visit me at amaze.org or go to my YouTube channel to watch more. Bye.
Again, this is one of those, situations where, again, talking. We talk to the kids about cyberbullying. We talk about the victim, what the victim goes through. Bystander, okay? And this is where I do this all the time. I talk to the kids all the time about being bystanders or upstanders. A bystander is the person who literally sits back and goes, thank God it's not me. And can you blame them in certain situations? Probably not. But the upstander is the one who stands up. You don't have to stand up to the bully, but you stand up for the victim. Let them know they're not alone. Talk to them. Okay? I highly encourage this when I'm in classes with kids. I do this all the time, and I tell them, I have, and I can say it right now, I carry mine right here on my arm. You might not be able to see that. Okay? Mine says, love, laugh, live like Lexi. That's my daughter. That's how she lived. That's how she was. And she was the child that went to every school and every grade, and she found somebody who was being left out, and she would sit and talk with them. Why? Because she had been bullied and she didn't want to see anybody else go through it. Show them how to stand up for themselves and show them how to stand up for somebody else. Support your child. Problem solve together. Again, save evidence. Block the bullies. Can you set up a different Facebook account? Absolutely. Can you change an email? Absolutely. Talk to the school. Yes. Again, cybertipline.org. These are things that you can do to immediately get yourself help in trying to block this from happening. The behaviors, they switch screens, they close programs. Sometimes they may use computers at different hours than they normally would. Again, they're trying to escape when the other person's online. They avoid discussions. Again, talk to them, okay? Talk to them about it. And again, is this what your child would have done if it was offline, if it was offline behavior? Talk to them about expectations of their online and offline behavior, consequences of cyberbullying. In case your child's the one who's doing the bullying. Model good online and offline behavior. You can't turn and tell a child, well, I expect you to act this way, and then be in a situation where you're not acting that way yourself. You have to model the behavior you want them to do. It's kind of like turning to a kid and saying, you need to wear your seatbelt, but then you never wear yours. Those are things that if the child sees modeled behavior, they follow that. So talk to them about it. Talk about being an upstander. Again, I highly encourage it. I talk to the kids about it all the time. Why? Because this is what we need to make sure they understand. Understanding that portion of what they can do and how. The biggest thing, this just came out research study wise, it shows that when a bully is confronted, not by the victim, but by the victim and somebody else, in 60 to 75% of the cases, the bullying ends in 10 seconds. And the same thing can happen when they realize that they cannot get away with it or that it's not going to be accepted. It really stops it. Again, look into some technical options. Are there ways to block certain things? Monitoring software. Consult your phone provider. Look into different apps. Again, talk to your child about the things they want to do and see if there's things that you can do to make them safer. Connect, learn, engage yourself. You cannot make your child safe if you have not tried to make yourself safe. Again, you need to make sure you're involved in what they're doing. These activity books, these are all free through this program, through NetSmarts. There's ebooks, there's video games, there's videos. All of them are designed to teach your kids how to do different things within this book. As they get older, they talk about child sexual exploitation, survivors and their families. I tell kids, when I do these classes, I talk to them and I tell them, I want you to not be a victim, And I want you not to be a survivor. I want you to have been left alone. And the only way that happens is for them to have us and you involved. And again, I want to thank you for your participation. There are some other things here, and I guess we're into Q&A.
Thank you, Matt. That was wonderful. We do have a comment in the Q&A that says, "That is so touching and heartwarming. Thank you for sharing about how amazing your daughter was. It's very inspirational."
Thank you.
There is another comment in the chat that says, "Sorry if this was said, will the slides be sent out?" So the webinar will be, the link will be sent to your email, and it is available online to watch. As far as the specific slides, I'm not sure, Matt, if there is a way for those to be sent out if needed or wanted.
I can see if we can, I can see if I can save it to a PDF and maybe share that with Nina. If that is something you'd really like, I will give you my email address and you can contact me and I will, so while I'm saying that, it's M Gezequel, Gezequel at sanilaccounty.net. If you send me an email requesting the slides for this, I will go ahead and try and burn that into a PDF version and send it to you.
Awesome. Thank you. We did have another question in the chat that asks, what age should we start these conversations with kids?
As far as conversations go, I can tell you, we talk about cyber safety from kindergarten on up. The sooner you can talk to them about their safety online, the better off you're going to be and the better off they're going to be. Now, when we're talking about, again, I do everything using the NetSmart program. Why? Because I find it's updated, like I said, it's updated regularly. Two, the information that they have is age appropriate for your child. So that's what I would highly recommend. Look at stuff that's age appropriate for your child. And then, like I said, there's so many different things out there. But like I said, what I use with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the NECMEC programming, I use that because one, I went and took their courses. Two, again, it's updated. Their information, and they literally have changed how they do some of their presentations on cyberbullying, and they update different things as new things come out. There's the whole thing about sextortion. There's actually an entire class on sextortion that you can take online if you have a teenager. I highly recommend it. Again, it's something that was not is always talked about, but it's so highly important for your children.
Thank you.
I think I answered the question.
Yes. I'll give it another minute or a few seconds, I should say, to see if there's any other questions that come through to the chat. All right. So thank you all again for attending this webinar on digital safety with Officer Matt Gezequel. Our next Healthy Living Together webinar will be Exercise for Seniors at Diamond Trail in Sandusky. This webinar will take place on June 19th at 12 o'clock with Joyce Edwards, Senior Exercise Instructor, and Shannon Couts, Physical Therapist. Thank you all and have a wonderful day.